All right, so this is Jason Yarusi back with Multifamily Live. Super excited to have Art Morrison III on the show today. Hey, Art, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great. Excited to have you on the show. So, a little bit about Art. After a rocky childhood, Art went on to play collegiate basketball at a D2 school on scholarship and eventually to play professional basketball in Portugal. Following his retirement from basketball, he single handedly built a basketball camp for children. While still trying to figure out how he would build his wealth, Art found real estate and did over 2.5 million in transactions in his first 2 years. He quickly moved from wholesaling and flipping to doing full-time syndications. And today, Art and his team have done over 6 million in transactions across 15 properties. And he now seeks to teach young adults how to get into the REI game and expedite their path to financial freedom through syndications early on. Art, that's fantastic, man. So, lots of lessons here. And for you, you've really carried it forward, right? So your childhood, your background, right, to be able to find your success playing overseas, and then now quickly just transforming, right, having success in one part of real estate, and then saying, you know what, there's another spot that's better for me. How has your childhood, your upbringing, or working in high intensity sports, how has that set you up to constantly put yourself in a better position going forward while always seeking to give back?
It's funny because I've been on several podcasts and there's always like a similar question to kind of kick off, right? Like, and no one's asked it the way that you asked it. And the way that you just laid it out, the answer that comes to mind is just elevation. It's just a constant, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? And always looking for a way to improve, always looking for a way to tap into the next chapter of your life, which if you're doing it right, it's usually better than the previous chapter, right? In some way, shape, or form, right? Always progressing towards what that end goal is. So, like when you're growing up and it's a little tough, whether it be the neighborhood you live in or your family structure or whatever it might be, because everyone's definition of tough is different. Your only thing you think about is how to get out of that particular like current situation. So, like for me, it was like, man, I want to go to college. No one's in my family ever been to college. I want to go to college. The only way I'm gonna get there is by playing ball and getting on the scholarship. So that was that next step. Then when you get to college, it's like, man, I want to play professionally because, I think I deserve to. I think I've worked hard enough to, right? This is the goal I've had since I was 6 years old. Why give up on it now, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're playing professionally, you're like, man, this is cool. I achieved my dream, but I want to make more money because I want to be able to look out for my family and reach more people. So then you become an entrepreneur. And then you're an entrepreneur and you're like, okay, I have my free time. I'm making money, but there's still another level. And then that's when I found real estate. When I like became, like 18, you're technically an adult, but like 25 is like really, that's
That's
like
right.
really when you're like, it
Yeah.
starts hitting you at 26, you can't be on your parents' insurance no more, at that phase. That, when like real estate kicked in. So my point of saying all that is like the way they all mesh together and relate is just that it always was just the next level of what the ultimate goal was, which was
Yeah.
financial freedom, time freedom, wealth, and not like flashy, crazy, loud wealth, but just like that I can breathe and sleep really well at the end of every night wealth that like unfortunately growing up I just didn't have.
What's very impressive is that you found milestones, right? Because many times in our life,
Yeah.
when we come from a tough spot or points, we get ourselves in that point where we get, it's almost like that washing machine where we find ourselves just constantly repeating the narrative here. But you're able
Yeah.
to find milestones, and what you get here is that once you get to the milestone, you can appreciate it, right? But you say, great, I'm here, but I've done this. Why can't I do the next thing, right? Why can't I get to that next step? Because I've done this, right? So I've already come from something that's hard into something else and accomplished something that's hard. So why can't I just keep trying something else that's hard, right? And that vision is really powerful. When you bring this message back to kids, what is usually the easiest part to help them understand that it's possible?
Man, it's like, why not you? Is just kind of how I like if we're talking basketball, it's like, yeah, at some point, like LeBron James was 9 years old too. Nobody thought he was
Mhm.
gonna be LeBron James. You know what I mean? So like, why not you? So all you have to identify is what the hell did LeBron James do between 9 years old and 18 years old when he's the number one player in the country and replicate that, right? So that was a way that I like kept myself going when I was younger. So in coaching basketball, which, I don't coach basketball to coach basketball. I do it to coach life. So in coaching life, even I emphasize that. It's like, I have a nephew who's a freshman now. And if he's ever like slipping up on grades or anything at all, I'm like, yo, just identify your end goal. And then it doesn't take a rocket scientist to identify what it takes to get to that end goal, and then just do it. Don't let anything else get in your way. Don't let excuses in the way. Just kind of do it. And it's worked for me and everyone who I've advised it's worked for. It's just like, identify your end goal and work backwards. Like it's really simple. Don't get too caught up in the journey. You want to appreciate it, but if you're always thinking about the next step, odds are you're not even gonna appreciate it or realize it when you get there, and you're gonna lose the drive that like pushes you to the next one. You know what I mean? You're gonna find yourself just always burned out, and especially on kids, man. Like they already harden themselves, but whether you know it or not, they got a bunch of different pressures, especially with social media and stuff now. So it's like, yo, look internally, look at your goal, not what you think your goal is supposed to be and all that. Look at your actual goal, and then just work backwards, reverse engineer.
It helps you understand that when the path you're on is leading you somewhere, right? Because lots of path, but ultimately, if we don't have clarity of where that path is taking us, that's where we get derailed, right? And I'm sure you've had coaches, teachers, other points where they're talking at you, telling you to do something, but you don't understand. Like you're trying to believe in the mission, but you don't know what the mission is, right? So you're like, I'm trying to believe in something, but I don't quite know what that is, right? And so you have a hard time aligning your steps in the process because you're trying to put some kind of backing to it, right? And so lots of times with life, I mean, it's even like a good representation of social media is that all you see is the end, right? Oh, this person did that, and whether they're faking it or not, like, oh, now they are well off, rich, they got a car or something like that, right? But they haven't seen all the work or all the things that they've put in to get themselves to that next level, right? And so understand that they had that goal, right? They had that goal to get there, right? And now they did these steps to get there, right? And so for you, you've now done 15 transactions, which, in three years, right? So this goal of getting into syndication, what was it that basically made this the direction, right? Why did you see this as the next level of empowerment that could help you to your goals?
Yeah, so it just was, I grew up playing a team sport. Syndication is like the way you apply team and real estate. So I started off doing it alone.
Yeah.
I can't even say I did okay. Like I excelled like I do in everything else because I believe in myself and I work really hard, right? So excel individually was like 4 transactions in a year. It was like, oh, cool. Like, I look at me, everyone's hitting me. They're like, oh, arts and real estate, you're doing your thing, bro. It's everyone's favorite phrase. But what I found was the following year, we did 8 transactions. And it's because I started involving others, whether it was from a capital perspective, whether it was just resources, just being intentional about spending more time with other people and networking with more people in the space so that if they stumble across a deal or an opportunity, or they come into some capital, or we do as well, or they're missing something that we have, or vice versa, your first instinct is to collaborate. And in that year, which was 2021, wow, it's 22 already. Or was that 2020? Either way, it was one of those years.
Making moves, man. Yeah, the time is moving. Yeah.
Time is moving, but we literally doubled in transactions. And then, that was last year. So this year we're on pace to do about 12 or 13 transactions. So we're on transaction number 19 right now. I think when that bio was written, we were at 15. So we're on transaction number 19. We've broken 7 million. So the goal is 10 million in transactions.
Yeah.
Hopefully we should hit that hopefully by halfway through this year. But I'm saying all that to say is, even as I'm speaking now, it's we, because it's just the more people, I notice a pattern. The more people I align with, the more people I work with, ultimately, the more deals we're doing, the more money we're making, the more impact we're making. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's so well said. In our mastermind, we're constantly trying to get people when they're trying to go, Lone Ranger. You will get to your goals when you can help others get to theirs, right? Yeah. And for us, I mean, my wife and our first syndication on 94 unit, we did it all ourselves. We're like, okay, we did it, right? But like, here it is. Like, if I'm underwriting deals, I'm not raising capital. If I'm raising capital, I'm not working on the business plan. If I'm not working on the business plan, I'm not talking to the property manager, right? Because there's only one of me, right? And so on that front, then I can only help others in so many ways because there's only one Jason, right? There's only one Art Morrison III. When you get in there and you say, okay, hey, today I can help with resources, I can help with capital, right? And I can come in there and now you have someone else who can help you with asset management or points. That's why you're accomplishing a lot of these, because everybody can get in their lane, keep focused, just with the core objective going forward, right? So
yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head, because my first deal was like a wholesale deal, but like wholesaling is great, don't get me wrong, but I just refused to do it because I'm about like long-term wealth, and I actually really wanted to own a home. So I ended up like wholesaling it to a partner who I actually paid some of my wholesale fee back in order to just be a part of the deal, to shadow it.
nice.
I have
Yeah.
access to the content, all that. That was my first deal ever. I call it my ghetto syndication. It was like
Yeah.
pieced together, like different parts, different capital partners, whatever. And what I ended up doing though was scaling that. And even though it's still early, we scaled that into much smaller syndications, but for fix and flip. So like, okay, let's go buy houses in bulk. We know we get, X amount of LTV. So I only need X amount of dollars to do it. And I can do this many properties, right? So everyone in my network, I got involved to do so. And now, like literally as we speak, we're trying to get to like what your first syndication was, the 94 unit. We haven't even really tapped into the full power of syndication, because we've been doing it just for the sake of skipping like the first steps of typical fix and flipping or typical wholesaling.
That's awesome.
We were able to jump past those two steps because we were involving and inviting of people. Right. So like, that's like really what I preach the biggest is like, I'm not the biggest real estate guy. I don't have 250 units or anything like that, but we're zipping through these transactions all because like, yeah, I'm brilliant and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but all because I'm not doing it alone though.
Yeah.
Right. So I have other brilliant individuals with me. Like you said, what was happening was I was waking up every morning. I think we had 9 flips at one time, all in like the county where we lived in. So I was waking up every morning. I was going to each one, checking up, talking to the contractors, whatever. Next thing you know, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. Banks closed. Yeah. I didn't do no capital raise. I didn't talk to any potential partners. I didn't do any underwriting of any deals. I had my girlfriend who does our acquisitions. She was riding along with me, getting content and stuff. So now it's like both of us are, and now our company stopped because we were trying to do it alone. And that's what pushed us to, everything you just said. It's like really start building a team around it so that the syndication becomes a true syndication. And now here we are looking at much bigger deals.
Yeah. And you're there, right? And you're compounding your future, right? And just like you've seen with, I'm sure you have a lot of friends in wholesaling and flipping, and they get real busy in the business, right? And so they'll stop their marketing. It's like, we're so crazy, we got to stop. But then the second they're not crazy anymore, and the marketing stopped, and now they got to start their marketing to get their flow back going again, right? And so it's never that ebb and flow. It's just push and pull. And when you bring the team in, everybody can collectively continue to push forward, right? And that's always been the power, in syndication, is that, okay, we can collectively do deals, right? Because we're not on top of each other. We're not stuck in the same lane. Just like you said, like you're running around, talking to contractors, like that can take you in whatever direction it goes, right? Every single time you go somewhere, there's something new to learn. So have you been focused for the syndications, the flipping world, or now buying homes? Or talk to me a little bit about what your core, and let's say today, like what's the focus?
Excellent. So I've only watched 2 of your episodes. I don't know if I'm getting off of how you like to keep your episodes, but I might. I'm going to kind of spin it back on you. What do you recommend? Because I'm kind of at a crossroads where we have an amazing system in New Jersey of fix and flipping. Everyone on my whole team is versed in fix and flipping. So if I maximize what everyone's good at, I think I could scale that even nationwide potentially. But I'm very big on doors, and I want to get into my first syndication. I want to, because the wealth isn't in flipping. You can make some good money, but just from a tax perspective and just a workflow perspective, the wealth isn't in flipping. Long-term wealth is in holds at a large scale. So, saying that to say is I'm in a decision-making phase right now, where I don't know if I want to take those resources of what we're doing good and apply it to a new model that is the model that I really want to do, or leave this model alone and kind of restart this from scratch, which would ultimately be kind of doubling my work. Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and just scale this. That's like where I'm at. So I'm spinning it back on you. I don't know if you do this on your shows, but I'm spinning it back.
Absolutely. What advice is you? This is why we like it conversational, because we're setting apart. Where are you in New Jersey? Where do you live?
Right smack dab in the middle, Somerset County, Central Jersey.
Nice. I grew up in Westfield in Union County.
Oh,
So,
you're right there. So yeah, a
yeah,
lot of our
yep,
properties are in like East
yep.
Orange. We got some in
Nice.
Phillipsburg, Manville.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. Love it. I'm in Tennessee now. So I moved down here a little bit ago. But in that fact, you said it earlier, right? You actually parlayed immediate satisfaction for long-term success by cutting back some of your fee back to that person to get yourself into a project, right? And what was powerful about that is so many times we take that quick fix, right? We said, I'll just spend it, I want to get the max of it now because it will never come again. But you saw, like, I'm in this for the long run. And the process you have right now with flipping is doing awesome with these projects. If you think about a syndication, it's basically a long-term flip, right? We're fixing this up to sell in the future, right? It's just not going to be in a 2, 4, 5 month timeline like you will have in a flip. So it's just saying subjectively here, we're going to do the same thing, but we're with multifamily or with other points, it allows you to pull on more triggers. Where right now with the flip, you have the one side that's basically forced appreciation, right? And that's what we do.
Yeah.
I go in there, I force it forward and it goes. What you allow here on the other side with multifamily, now you could force the appreciation forward here on a bigger building. So you can pull little levers and have more happen, but you can also get the cash flow now for 3, 4, 5 years. You get the tax advantages, you can get the depreciation, and now you have a bunch of tenants paying down your debt here. So for you, you have a great system come in there. Now, do you have to break the mold? No, not at all. You could use the empowerment of some of that cash. So you don't have the heavy tax consequence and roll a portion of that. Whether you say, I'm going to start with 10%, 20%, 30, whatever your threshold is, you can roll that system into buying apartment complexes and start peeling off. So every 5 houses we do one syndication, or you get some model set in there that will give you that bandwidth. Right now, the point about going nationwide, the hardest thing from there is that, think of how much of a master you are in your markets now, is that you want to find your area you're going to be a master in, so you can empower the team there, because you can you could find a deal that looks good on paper in, I don't know, Des Moines, Iowa, or Topeka, Kansas, or Daytona, Florida. They may all look like good deals, but because you don't have the master of the market, you don't know if you're on the wrong side of the tracks or the best school zone or what, right? So we started out our success when we were in New Jersey. We started investing in Louisville, Kentucky, and what really led us to success there is, like, we got so hyper focused. Like, we're going to find a 75 to 150 unit building, BC asset, built between 1975 to 2010 in the South, in South Central and Southeast submarkets. And we got so clean on those streets. Like, we knew exactly where we were, that we could be quick to act, right? And so we could empower it forward. Right. Because you don't have to be in the multifamily space. You don't have to be as transactional as you do on the wholesale side, right? Or the flipping side. You can do one. I mean, people, I had friends who, his family brought a 40 unit like 40 years ago, and they've now rolled it down from grandparents to parents to the kids, and they're living a life around this building. Right. So to say it doesn't take everything, right? It just takes doing it consistently with that part. So you have a cool process, man. You're doing awesome, right? And so they do. Sometimes it's, can we leverage this to our ability? You have a great team doing a great thing, but just look at this now, where a flip, you may do a certain type of renovation package to get yourself to the goal. This may be for these units, you might harden them a bit more, right? So you might do 5/8 sheetrock, or you might do, LVP across the whole floor. Or maybe you've done carpet just so you can make them hardened here, so you get a property that can sustain tenants for a couple of years, and then you flip out, right? Because the syndication always has an exit. It just depends now. It gives you a little more time to allow the other levers of real estate that are fantastic in multifamily to play into your advantage.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. And that, I guess, was the fourth option that I didn't mention, but I do love the concept of being hyper focused on a specific market. We just relocated here to Florida, actually Tampa, Florida. Not to say that we necessarily want to do business in this market. We're still doing a lot of studying. We're more so here for the weather. But I love that idea, because a lot of our success in New Jersey came from being hyper focused. Like, we were so focused that we didn't even really leave like the county. Because we knew, like, I knew the area. So we had such a strong hold on a specific area. Like, we're just now really venturing out in different areas of New Jersey. And then, once you're over an hour out from where you're headquartered, for lack of a better term, it's all the same, whether it's an hour out or a 3-hour flight, right? Like, it's all the same. So I'm excited to find that market, what that market's going to be for us, and honing in and locking in, and doing that first syndication. So I appreciate
You,
that.
you can win in any market, and that's usually
Yeah.
people, they like, it always seems like the grass is greener somewhere else here, but people win New Jersey, right? And so with New Jersey, of course, it's higher taxes, not as friendly landlord laws, typically older properties, utilities, but people always want to come there, right? Like, it's just like, okay, a lot of people are moving out of New Jersey. Well, yeah. And a lot of people are moving out of New York to New Jersey every day, right? So the same people are
right.
like, yes, but there's always coming, you're seaborn, right? You're always going to have that appreciation value. But down where you are right now, like Tampa and St. Pete's, like if I had bandwidth, we're in a lot of markets, like that's a market we looked heavily at because it's fantastic. Right. So you have so much, and the cool part is you're right in your backyard again. Like you just keep finding your ways in great spots. So you could win there. I mean, it's just, man, there's a lot happening in Florida right now.
That's all I needed. As soon as I get off this call, I got a couple more calls to make.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, St. Pete's, Tampa, man, you're in a good spot for sure.
Yeah. Excellent.
Good,
thanks so much.
100%. I'm really excited. And so talk to me before I let you go here on just talking with the younger adults here, how you've been setting that up, how you've been really helping them. We'd love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So, so early on in my career was so predicated on mentorship. It was just like, everything that I learned from that first wholesale deal to even like my older brother who does syndications at a high level taught me a lot at this level, right? Like, so like I knew all the concepts, I knew, right? So I might not have had the details, but then I had another mentor who was more detail oriented and on boots on the ground with me. I had another mentor specifically in wholesaling to help us with our acquisitions, right? So I'm saying all that to say, I've designed my mentorship program to be the same way, just very hands-on, attention to detail, and at all different levels. You can get access to it at my website, artmorrison3.com. Everything you need is up there. If you want to learn more about my story, right? My ebook is up there for free. My mentorship program, you can apply to get let in, but we have a ton. We have like automated courses you can grab, or you have like our actual interacting, like we meet every week and we're sharing deals, sharing capital, syndicating within the group. It's really like, I designed it to be a fast track for young adults because that's like kind of my sweet spot. And that's what it was for me. So, real estate's not hard, man. It's just the right resources and the will to do it. So
it's basically, it's the 4-minute mile when no one could believe that a 4-minute mile could be done. Everybody thought you would die. And then one guy does it and the next year, 200 people do it. Right. Because you give the premise. Right. And the same thing we've done with our mastermind at 7-Figure Multifamily. We've given the steps. Right. So here's the steps that have worked and create proof case, because once one sees another can do it, they empower themselves, but just say it is possible. Right. Oh, someone's walked on the moon, so it must be able to be done. Right. Yeah. Oh, someone's gotten themselves here where they've been in a rough start, and all of a sudden they find themselves in college. Right. They find themselves playing pro ball. Right. Like, it's because you've set the standard and other people see you do it. Right. And it gives them the mental capacity to say, well, why not me? Just like you said. Right. So Art, this is awesome. Yeah, I really appreciated your story. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I know you spoke about the website. Is that the best way to connect with you? Is there somewhere else they should follow what you guys are doing?
Yeah, yep. So the website and then the Instagram, it's the same. It's Art Morrison III. That's Art Morrison III on Instagram. Every social media platform, but I'm most engaging on Instagram. So reach out there. I post the most probably valuable content there. I got to get better on like LinkedIn and Twitter and other places. But as you know, just so busy with
that's right.
Scaling the business and being in the business that all I can focus on right now is IG, really. So follow me on IG, visit that website, and I can't wait to meet some of you, whoever's out there wants to connect. And thanks so much for having me on the show. It was a blast. Thanks for the advice. I'm going to connect with you after this.
Awesome, man. Well, you've done a great job on your focus, right? So sometimes what you're doing is right where you need to be. So well done.
Thanks for those words, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Everyone listening, thank you for taking a listen here. Go down there, hit that subscribe button, give us a like and follow. Go out there, follow up with Art. He's doing some fantastic stuff, and we'll talk to you shortly.